Historically in the United Kingdom, ketchup was made using mushrooms as the main ingredient instead of tomatoes. This tradition dates back to at least 1770 in the United States, where British colonists in the 13 colonies prepared mushroom ketchup. Several variations of ketchup emerged over time, but the tomato-based version didn't surface until about a century after other varieties. Modern ketchup came into being in the early 20th century, spurred by discussions surrounding the use of sodium benzoate as a preservative in condiments. Tomato ketchup typically consists of tomatoes, sugar, and vinegar, along with various seasonings and spices. These may include onions, allspice, coriander, cloves, cumin, garlic, mustard, and occasionally celery, cinnamon, or ginger. The dominant ketchup brand in both the United States, with a 60% market share, and the United Kingdom, holding 82%, is Heinz tomato ketchup. According to current statistics, the ketchup industry brings in approximately $36 billion in revenue. But how is the tasty ketchup we eat every day made? Well, it all starts with gathering fresh tomatoes from farms. Special machines are used for this. They do a bunch of tasks like cutting, shaking, sorting, and loading the tomatoes. The machine's movements and tasks are all powered by a hydraulic system. Once the tomatoes are harvested, they need to be transported to the production facility. At the facility, ripe tomatoes are received and sorted out to remove any that are damaged or not yet ripe. After sorting, the tomatoes undergo a thorough wash to get rid of any dirt or impurities. Then, they're crushed or chopped into small bits using heavy-duty equipment like pulpers or grinders. This step breaks the tomatoes down into a rough puree. The tomato puree is heated to a certain temperature to make removing the skin and seeds easier. Some makers use steam or other methods to heat it efficiently. Then, the heated puree goes through equipment like a peeler or centrifugal separator to take out the skin and seeds. This step is important for getting a smoother texture and eliminating anything unwanted. Making tomato puree is a big part of making tomato ketchup. When it's all ready, it gets put into airtight containers and stored in a warehouse. It's worth mentioning that tomato puree is made separately because doing so allows for customization of the flavor and thickness of ketchup. Tomato paste, with its longer shelf life and easy storage, serves as a handy intermediate product in this process. When the ketchup making process kicks off, automated forklifts carry crates of tomato paste, each weighing 1,300 kilograms, from the warehouse. After opening the crates, the paste goes to the paste dumper. There, large rolling pins squeeze the paste out of the packaging. Once the paste is extracted, it's transferred to a storage bin. There, it's mixed with water to make it smoother. This step makes it easier to move the paste to a storage tank where it waits before moving on to the ketchup kitchen. In the ketchup kitchen, the thinned puree is blended with precise amounts of sweeteners, vinegar, salt, spices, and flavorings. Most spices are added at the beginning of the cooking process. To prevent too much evaporation, volatile spice oils and vinegar are mixed in later. Onions and garlic can be mixed with the spices, kept in a separate bag, or chopped and added directly to the mixture. Salt and sugar can be added at any point during cooking, but it's preferable to add sugar later to avoid burning. After cooking for about 30 to 45 minutes, with rotating blades keeping it circulating, it's time for packaging. Most ketchup brands prefer to use plastic bottles shaped like a keystone to store their product. Henry Hyde's developed the design, featuring a curved neck to ensure smooth ketchup flow and a narrow mouth to minimize air exposure and prevent browning. This innovative bottle shape has become a staple for most ketchup brands. The ketchup is dispensed into transparent bottles, providing customers with the assurance of freshness as they can see the contents inside. This process is facilitated by a filler. The filler first checks the weight of the empty bottle and then fills it with ketchup until it reaches the desired weight. Once the correct weight is achieved, the bottles are promptly sealed to preserve the freshness of the product. To prevent flavor loss through stack burning, which can happen when ketchup remains at high temperatures after cooking, the containers need to be cooled. This cooling process can be achieved either by exposing the containers to cold air or by immersing them in cold water. Once cooled, the ketchup containers are labeled and coated with product information, such as ingredients, manufacturing date, location, and shelf life. Before shipping, the bottled ketchup may undergo a final inspection to ensure quality.